Hey everyone. Welcome back to the Talk English Now podcast. I'm Maya.
And I'm Aiden. And today's episode is all about prepositions. Yep, those little words that seem so simple but drive so many learners crazy.
Exactly. Words like in, on, at, by, for, to, and with. They look small, but they carry so much meaning, and they're used all the time in real conversations.
And the tricky thing? Native speakers use them without thinking, but for learners, they can feel totally random. Why do we say interested in something but good at something? Why is it on the bus but in a car? It's confusing, right?
That's why we're doing this episode. Because once you understand how prepositions work in real life, and not just in grammar books, it becomes easier. You stop memorizing rules and start speaking more naturally.
Joining us today is our language expert and preposition lifesaver, Sophie.
Hey guys, I'm really happy to be here. Prepositions are one of my favorite topics to teach, not because they're easy, but because they're powerful. Once you get a feel for them, they open the door to smoother, more natural English.
So let's begin right at the root. Sophie, what exactly is a preposition?
Great question. A preposition is a word that shows the relationship between two parts of a sentence. Usually, it tells you when, where, or how something happens. For example, the book is on the table. I'll meet you at 5 p.m. She walked to the store. These little words help give structure and meaning to your sentences.
So they're like bridges. They connect ideas.
Exactly. But the problem is, in English, we often don't use prepositions in a logical way. You just have to get used to how they sound in real situations. That's why context is so important.
Let's take some common prepositions and see how they work in everyday English. Maybe we can start with in, on, and at. I know those confuse a lot of learners.
Perfect. Let's start with in. We usually use in when we talk about inside something, a space or a time period. Examples. She is in the kitchen. I live in New York. He was born in April. We'll finish the project in 2 days. Think of in as something that's enclosed, inside a place, or inside a time block.
Okay, so in the room in 2020 in the morning. That makes sense.
Exactly. Now let's move to on. On is used for surfaces, specific days or dates, and technology. Examples. The book is on the table. I'll call you on Monday. I saw it on TV. He's on the bus. She's on the phone. We use on when something is placed or happens on top of a surface or on a specific schedule.
I love the bus one. It always confused me. Why do we say on the bus but in the car?
That's such a good question. It's about movement and space. When you're on the bus, train, or plane, you're part of a shared public space that you can stand or walk around in. But when you're in a car or taxi, it's a smaller, private space. So we use in.
Wow. That actually helps. So on the bus, in the car, on a flight, but in a taxi.
Exactly. Now the last one, at. At is usually used for specific points in time or location. Examples, we're meeting at 5 p.m. She's at the door. He works at Google. Let's stop at the gas station. So if in is more general, and on is about surfaces or schedules, at is very specific. Think of it like a dot, a single point.
So, in the city, on Main Street, at the corner.
Perfect example.
Okay, now that we've tackled in, on, and at, let's look at some confusing combinations that learners ask about all the time.
Yes. Like, why do we say interested in but good at?
These are what we call preposition collocations, fixed combinations. There's no strong logic to them, but they repeat so often that native speakers just know them by sound. Here are a few examples. Good at math, bad at cooking, interested in music, worried about the test, excited about the trip, tired of waiting, afraid of spiders, you can't say good in math or worried on the test. It sounds wrong to native speakers because we've learned these patterns from use.
So it's more like a memory thing, almost like phrases or chunks.
Exactly. And the best way to learn them is by hearing them in real conversations. Read, listen to podcasts, and notice how people say things. Don't try to analyze every word. Just absorb the patterns.
Maya, let's try a mini challenge with our listeners. I'll say a phrase and you think of the correct preposition. Ready? I'm afraid __ heights. What's the answer?
Of. I'm afraid of heights.
Good. Next one, she's good __ painting.
At. She's good at painting.
Nice. One more. They're excited __ the party.
That's about excited about the party.
Yes. If you got those right, great job. If not, don't worry. We're going to keep repeating these throughout the episode.
And feel free to shadow us. Repeat what we say out loud. That's how your brain builds fluency.
That's actually how I improved my French. I stopped memorizing rules and just listened and repeated. It helped a lot.
So for learners listening now, don't think too much. Hear the phrase, say it out loud, feel how it sounds.
Exactly. Language is sound before its rules.
We're just getting started with prepositions. In the next part, we'll cover how to use to, for, with, and by, and help you feel confident using them in everyday conversations.
All right, welcome back. In the last part, we talked about in, on, and at, and some tricky collocations like good at, interested in, and afraid of. Now let's move into another set of everyday prepositions that learners often confuse to, for, with, and by.
These four show up all the time in casual conversations. And honestly, they can feel pretty similar sometimes, especially to and for. But when you understand the purpose behind each one, it becomes easier.
Let's start with to. This one is used when you're showing direction, movement, or transfer, like going to a place or giving something to someone. Examples: I'm going to the store. He gave the book to her. Can you talk to me? She explained the problem to her boss. So, to is about movement, physical or emotional, from one point to another.
So if I say I sent an email to Sophie, I'm focusing on the direction me to her.
Exactly. Now for is different. For is about benefit, purpose, or support. Examples: I bought this gift for you. This is for your safety. He spoke for the whole team. I did it for her, not for myself. So if to is about giving or going, for is about doing something to help or support someone.
That helps so much. Can we try some comparisons? Like, what's the difference between I wrote a letter to her and I wrote a letter for her?
Great question. I wrote a letter to her means you sent the letter directly to her. I wrote a letter for her means maybe she couldn't write it herself, so you helped by writing it on her behalf.
So to equals direction or recipient, for equals purpose or benefit.
Let's test a few more. What about I made coffee to you versus I made coffee for you?
Only I made coffee for you is correct. Because it's about doing something as a favor. You made the coffee for their benefit. Made coffee to you doesn't make sense in English.
Okay, now what about with?
With is used when you're talking about togetherness or tools/instruments. Examples: I went to the movie with my friends. She fixed it with a screwdriver. He lives with his parents. Can I speak with you? So, with means being connected or using something.
And it often gives a feeling of company. You're not alone.
Right. Now by is about method, creator, or closeness. Examples: this book was written by J.K. Rowling. She traveled by train. He stood by the window. You can pay by card. So by tells you who did something, how something was done, or where something is.
Okay, so here's a quick test. I'll say a sentence. Sophie, you tell us if it's to, for, with, or by. Ready? She's talking underscore her boss.
That could be to or with, depending on the feeling. If she's giving information, use to. If it's a conversation, use with.
Nice. Next one, he made dinner underscore his wife.
For his wife, because it's something he did as a kind gesture.
Last one. This painting was made underscore a famous artist.
By a famous artist, that tells us who created it.
Awesome. I love this little quiz format. It makes it easy to remember.
It's fun, right? And the more you hear these prepositions used in real examples, the more naturally they stick in your brain.
And speaking of hearing, this is a good time to remind our listeners to repeat with us. Practice speaking these sentences out loud. Even if you're alone, just say it.
Let's do a quick shadowing round. We'll say some phrases. You repeat them after us. I'm going to the store. You repeat. I made this for you. Your turn. She's talking with her teacher. Go ahead. The painting was made by her brother. Repeat.
Nice job. Seriously, if you say these out loud, you're training your brain to speak more fluently and automatically.
All right, let's dive into another tricky part of prepositions, time expressions. This confuses so many learners.
Yes. Words like since, for, from, until, by, before, after. They all relate to time, but they each work a little differently.
Let's break it down. Start with since and for. Since is used with a point in time. Since 2010. Since Monday. Since I was a kid. For is used with a length of time. For 10 years. For 2 hours. For a long time. So, I've lived here since 2010. I've lived here for 13 years.
So since equals when it started. For equals how long it's been?
Exactly. Now from and until show a start and an end. The meeting is from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. She works from Monday to Friday. I'll be here until next week. They show a duration, from a beginning to an ending.
And what about by and before? I always tell learners this one. By equals no later than a specific time. Before equals any time earlier than that point. Example, please finish it by Friday means Friday is the deadline. Please finish it before Friday means any time up to Thursday night.
Right. By focuses on the deadline. Before focuses on any time ahead of it.
Let's try some natural examples and listeners can repeat with us. I've been here since this morning. I waited for 30 minutes. The event runs from 10 to 5. You must submit it by Tuesday. She left before dinner.
Feel free to go back and repeat those again. That's how this becomes second nature.
Honestly, prepositions are not just about grammar, they're about fluency. If you want to sound smooth and confident, you need to know these patterns.
And it's okay if you make mistakes at first. Even native speakers say things like in accident instead of by accident. Just keep listening and speaking.
In the next part of the episode, we'll dive into phrasal verbs. These are verbs plus prepositions like look up, get on, run into, and how they completely change meaning. You don't want to miss that. All right, we're back, and now it's time to dive into something that causes even advanced English learners to pause. Phrasal verbs.
Yeah, these are those little combinations like give up, look after, run into, put off, where a simple verb joins a preposition or adverb and suddenly the meaning changes completely.
And sometimes it changes in a way that has nothing to do with the original verb. Like run into doesn't mean you're physically crashing into someone. It means you meet them by chance. Phrasal verbs can be super tricky, but they're used everywhere in daily English.
So true. It's how native speakers naturally talk, and if you want to sound fluent, you really need to be familiar with the common ones.
Let's take a simple one. Look. On its own, it just means to see. But look what happens when we add different prepositions.
Absolutely. Watch this. Look up. I'll look up that word in the dictionary. Search for information. Look after. Can you look after my dog? Take care of. Look for, I'm looking for my keys. Try to find. Look forward to, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Excited about something in the future. Each one means something different, even though the verb look stays the same.
Let's try some examples. We'll say a sentence, and listeners, you can guess the meaning before Sophie explains. I gave up smoking last year.
Give up means to quit or stop doing something. So this person stopped smoking.
Next one, she ran into her teacher at the supermarket.
Ran into means to meet someone by accident, not planned.
How about this? He put off the meeting until next week.
Put off means to delay or postpone.
One more, they broke up after 2 years.
Broke up means the relationship ended. They are no longer a couple.
So learners, you can see how the little words up into off, up completely change the verb. And these combinations don't always follow logic, so memorizing them as phrases is key.
Exactly. Don't try to guess by the individual words. Just treat the phrasal verb as a single meaning unit. And the best way to learn them is through repetition, context, and usage.
Let's give a few more very common ones just to get them into our learners' ears.
Sure. Here's a quick list, and you can repeat each one after us. Wake up. I usually wake up at 7 a.m. Turn on. Please turn on the lights. Turn off. Don't forget to turn off the oven. Pick up. I'll pick you up at 6. Drop off. He dropped me off at school. Hang out. Let's hang out this weekend. Figure out. I finally figured out the answer. Catch up. We need to catch up soon. Give back. Did you give back the book? Break down. My car broke down on the highway.
Try to notice how we say them in real situations. Repeat them. Use them in your own life. You can even make your own mini dialogues using these.
And remember, some phrasal verbs are separable. That means you can put something in the middle. For example, turn on the TV or turn the TV on, both are correct.
But some are not separable. Like, look after. You can't say look your dog after. That sounds weird.
Exactly. So it's just another reason to learn them in context, not by rule.
Let's switch gears for a moment and talk about prepositional phrases. These are short expressions that begin with a preposition and are super common in natural English.
Like, in the end, by the way, at the moment, on purpose, in charge, and under pressure.
Yes. Here are some very useful prepositional phrases and how to use them naturally. At the moment. I'm busy at the moment. By the way, did you see my email? On purpose. He did it on purpose. By mistake. Sorry, I deleted it by mistake. In charge. She's in charge of the team. Under pressure. They're working under pressure. In the end, everything worked out. In trouble. He's in trouble for lying. Out of order. The elevator is out of order. In a hurry. Sorry, I'm in a hurry.
These are great for sounding more natural because native speakers use them without even realizing.
Let's try a few more. And learners, feel free to shadow and say them with us. I called you by mistake. He left on purpose. She's in charge of the whole office. We're working under pressure today. The machine is out of order.
Nice. And when you hear these phrases often, your brain starts to store them as whole units. That's how fluency develops, not by memorizing word by word, but by remembering full patterns.
And don't be afraid to reuse the same phrases over and over. It's not boring, it's how fluent speakers actually talk.
Let's take a moment to talk about some real-life situations where prepositions matter a lot, like giving directions, asking for help, or describing where things are.
Yes, in real conversations, you'll often need to explain where things are or how to get somewhere. And prepositions are key. Examples. The pharmacy is next to the bank. It's across from the park. Go through the tunnel and then turn left. The keys are under the couch. Your shoes are on top of the cabinet.
Let's try a sample dialogue.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the post office is?
Sure. It's across from the library. Just walk past the cafe, go around the corner, and you'll see it on your right.
That's perfect. Used across from, past, around, and on, all in one sentence.
See how natural it becomes when you're just talking normally? That's the goal.
So in our final part of this episode, we're going to help you practice everything with short role plays, mini challenges, and repetition exercises.
Get ready to speak along with us and really make prepositions part of your everyday English. All right, here we go. The final part of today's episode. And this one's all about practice. We're going to walk you through real-life situations, short dialogues, and shadowing exercises so you can truly use what you've learned.
And don't just listen, actually speak. Say things out loud. If you can, repeat after us. Even whispering helps. The goal is to make your mouth and brain work together.
We'll keep everything simple, real, and natural. Let's start with one of the most common conversation types, asking for directions. Mini dialogue, asking for directions.
Excuse me, how do I get to the train station?
Sure, just walk past the bookstore, then turn right at the corner. The station is next to the supermarket.
Got it. So past the bookstore right at the corner, and it's next to the supermarket?
Exactly.
Let's break it down. You heard the prepositions: to the train station, your destination past the bookstore, movement at the corner, specific point next to the supermarket, location. Now you try. Repeat this sentence. I'm going to the station, past the bookstore, and it's next to the supermarket. Say it again.
Nice job. Let's try another. Talking about daily routine.
Here's a short conversation. Listen first.
I wake up at 7, go to work by car, and get home at 6.
I usually eat lunch at my desk and take a walk with my coworker after work.
So many great prepositions in there. Can you catch them all? Let's list them. At 7, time to work, direction by car, method of transport at 6, another time with coworker, togetherness after work, time relationship. Now shadow the sentences with us. I wake up at 7. I go to work by car. I get home at 6. I eat lunch at my desk. I walk with my coworker after work. Say each one again if you need to. Repetition builds fluency.
Let's move on to emotions and feelings, because a lot of common phrases use prepositions here too.
Here are some you've probably heard before. I'm tired of waiting. She's angry at me. He's excited about the trip. We're worried about the test. They're proud of their son. I'm scared of spiders.
These are collocations, fixed pairs of adjective plus preposition. They don't always make sense logically, but they sound right because we hear them constantly. Let's do a repeat after me round. Ready? I'm tired of waiting. She's angry at me. He's excited about the trip. We're worried about the test. They're proud of their son. I'm scared of spiders. Good. Now try creating your own examples using these patterns.
Time for a little quiz. We'll read a sentence with a missing preposition. You guess it, then we'll give you the answer.
I'm looking __ my keys. What is it?
Answer 4. I'm looking for my keys.
He's talking __ his friend on the phone. Think.
Could be to or with. Talking to focuses on one-way communication. Talking with sounds more like a two-way conversation.
She arrived _ the airport early. Have a guess.
Answer at. She arrived at the airport. Use at for points or specific places.
I went __ bed late last night. What's your answer?
It's 2. I went to bed. You go to places, even bed.
Nice work, everyone. If you got those right, amazing. If not, don't worry. Keep listening, keep repeating.
Now, one last section just for fluency. I'll read some full sentences with prepositions. You repeat after me, slowly. Let's train your speaking. I'm in a hurry, but I'll call you after lunch. She walked across the street and into the building. He sat next to me during the meeting. We met by chance in the city center. The book is on the shelf, next to the clock. I was born in April, on a Tuesday, at 3 a.m. She's been working here since 2021. I've known him for 10 years. Let's meet at 6 p.m. in front of the cinema. They live on the 5th floor, in apartment 5B.
You did it. That was a lot of prepositions.
And remember, you don't need to memorize everything. You just need to use them. The more you speak, read, and listen, the more natural they'll feel.
Exactly. And focus on chunks of language, like at the moment, in the morning, on the weekend. Fluency comes from patterns, not rules.
So keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you grow.
Before we go, let us know in the comments, what's one preposition that always confuses you? We'd love to help you with it in a future episode.
And if today's episode helped you, share it with a friend who's also learning English. Let's grow together.
You've been listening to the Talk English Now podcast, where we help you speak real English naturally.
Take care, keep speaking, and we'll see you next time.